As I got just a little bit older, I realized it wasn't a game when she tried to kill me when I was 7, tried to strangle me to death when I was in my bed. The streets of Milwaukee, in our ministry, we ran into all kinds of different people, and I believe many of them were either demonically possessed or working for the devil. One encounter that sticks in my mind was late one evening, probably around midnight. We were off of Wisconsin Avenue somewhere. We were talking to a young couple about Jesus, and off in a distance, maybe 30 yards away, was a fellow standing next to a dumpster, and I call him a fellow because I'm not exactly sure what he was. I'm pretty convinced he was a demon. He stood to be about 7 to 8 foot tall, had a tall hat on, a long black trench coat, very dark clothes, piercing eyes, and he was staring at us while we were talking to this couple. And what struck me about him wasn't his enormous size, was the fact that while I was looking at him, while we were talking to this couple, I was kind of glancing over and watching this guy, and he disappeared before my eyes. And later that evening, when we were sitting in a restaurant, my partner and we were talking about what had transpired that evening, he asked me if I had seen that being standing next to that dumpster. And I said, I did. And I said, while I was looking at him, he disappeared. And Ray, my partner, said that he saw the exact same thing. So I'm convinced he was a demon. Later on that evening, like I said, before we went to the restaurant, we were walking down Wisconsin Avenue, and there was a payphone there. This is when they used to have payphones on corners. And the payphone was ringing, so we naturally answered it. And the voice on the other end said, I know who you are, and I know what you're doing. You're in my territory. You better leave or you're going to die. And this was all demonic presence in the neighborhoods down there. And we encountered it many, many times. More on a personal note, I can recall one time in my own home, my mother was, I won't call her demonically possessed, but she was certainly working for the devil. And she would run around the house and chase us with knives, and we kind of thought it was a game when we were kids. But as I got just a little bit older, I realized it wasn't a game when she tried to kill me when I was 7, tried to strangle me to death when I was in my bed. I figured, how bad could I be as a kid for my own mother to try and kill me? I turned out to be bad. I was a rotten kid for, many, many years, too many years, always in trouble and fights, and she was a tormented person, lived her whole life in institutions and prisons, and toward the end of her life, when she was in her 70s, I would go visit her on occasion at the nursing home and stuff, and I would ask her, to accept Jesus, and she would say, how can there be a God when I live in a place like this? And I really didn't have an answer to that, but I knew that there was a better hope for her when she died. And eventually, after several visits and talking about Jesus, she did accept the Lord into her heart. And she was delivered. There wasn't some fancy exorcism or something, but she was delivered on that spot. And she lived the rest of her life in peace and the hope of Jesus. I'm sort of getting choked up with this, and that's Jesus. That's the hope we all have. That you can be delivered out of some horrible life that you've lived, and still find the hope of Jesus in the end. That's our God. That's the hope we've got.